Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Dech Teck. I am Dell, and today I want to talk about my Grenzo Dungeon Warden deck. Got it signed by the artist here, it's kind of hard to see, but here's a battlefield with X +1/+1 counters, depending on what I pay extra. And for 2 mana, put this bottom part of my library in my graveyard. It's a creature card with power less than or equal to Grenzo's power, I put on the battlefield. A lot of nice little shenanigans can be done with this. That being said, got a few combos in this. This is one of my combo decks I like playing. Not all the time, but often enough. And more recently, I made it a little more aggressive. Not so much to be a competitive deck, but I guess just to be more of a combo deck. A couple new cards in here. A couple cards I am planning on changing out eventually, like in one of my other videos I talked about. But for the most part, it's mostly creature-based. One of my favorite styles to play. And let's just get right into it. First ones I have up top here, I made a little bit organized, are a couple sack outlets. This one being the most important, where I can scry, make sure I know what's on the bottom of my library. This one as well, I can sack a creature, just scry, gives me some goat tokens, escape cost, all other stuff I don't really do too much besides that, and make a couple goats. We got Hidetsuko, Devouring Chaos. Another little sack out. This one actually costs a little bit of mana. And some other abilities that I don't really play too much. One of the newest cards in this deck is AR, Widow of the Realm. Again, has a sacrifice outlet. Actually do some damage. If I flip her, I can do all that stuff. I'll let you guys get a little look at that. I really like the art in this card too. I was really excited when this one came out. Got Junk Troller. Has a way to put stuff in my graveyard on the bottom of my library. We got Bontu, another sack outlet and scry ability here. Really like the art on this one too. You guys get a little read on that. And we got Epitaph Golem. Again, ability to put stuff on the bottom of my library. Canal Dredger. Technically a draft card, but you can actually play in Commander. Just ignore the first two parts. Again, putting stuff on the bottom of my library. Got one of my favorite cards, deck I'm going to talk about eventually. I have a Commander deck just around this guy, Chainer Dimension Master. Gives other nightmares +1/+1. But his ability is pay 3 black, pay 3 life, put a creature from the graveyard, any graveyard, onto the battlefield. Under my control it becomes a black nightmare in addition to other abilities. And then when he dies, all nightmares get exiled. But I like that reanimation thing. That's pretty much the only reason he's in there. Coffin Queen. Also the ability to recur stuff from the graveyard. I think it's going to be in the recursion pile here. Give you a minute to read what she does. Null Priest. Pretty good card on its own. But when I learned that you can do kicker just from reanimating, like if I bring this back from the graveyard, I could pay the kicker at that point to recur its other ability that brings something else back. A little fun fact for you. I don't know if anyone knows that. Fell on the third path. Kind of has recursion. You can make copies of stuff instead of actually bringing them back. So you can get a 2-for-1 deal. And that kind of plays into some of the combos I'm going to do in a little bit. Or talk about in a little bit. Got the newer version of Chainer, Nightmare Adept. I like this foiling. I like that brown, gold, ugly 2-color art. I love that stuff. But he has the ability where I can toss stuff in my graveyard and then bring stuff back if I want to. We got Kerrick, the Merciless. Little signature arcade post on there. This used to be just a straight up chaos deck where I just did a bunch of random stuff. This is one of the last vestiges of that, where still kind of does a little bit. There's a couple other cards in this pile too that you'll see. I couldn't cut them. Really good ability. I'm going to talk about at the end too, about the power and toughness deal. Just really like that card. I don't have to justify it to you. Spulker Primordial. Has some good recursion abilities. Dockside Extortionist. Everybody's favorite. This is one of those cards that might get cut eventually. I've won a few games sort of with this guy, and end of the day, I don't know. I like him, but I like to put something more fun in here. And we got everyone else's favorite, Kiki Jiki. Another ability here where I can just make copies of stuff. It's just really helpful to have. We got Archaic Wanderer. or Wandering Archaic. I never remember what he does. So every time somebody casts a spell, I get to pay 2, or they have to pay 2, or I get to copy it. And if I do the other side, everyone gets to peek at top 5. I spelled peek wrong. If your land, instant or sorcerer, keep it, rest on the bottom, random order, and gain 5 life. Never really do the second half, like the first half. He's also a fun target for recursion. We got another newer edition, just for the enter the battlefield, 4 damage to each opponent. That'll come into play later. Whenever a creature dies, get the Scry. Again, that ability comes in handy. Probably the most expensive card in the deck. Diao-chun something. Tap it in my pre-combat main phase to destroy a creature, and then that creature's controller gets to choose a creature of mine to destroy. More often than not, it's her, which is fine. I bring her back. It's fun to have in the graveyard, and I do a little song and dance with Felden on the 3rd path. Or make a copy of her, blow it up, and he usually gets blown, but he comes back anyway. Lots of little weird things in here I like to do. It's like a toolbox deck. It's a good way to call it. When I sacrifice a permanent, get the +1, deals damage equal to power to any target. A lot of fun with a lot of my stuff dying and getting sacked. He gets pumped up pretty good. Another card, like Dockside Extortionist, that people end up getting grumpy about is like a little dust on this. Might end up getting cut eventually, but I just like flashing it in to ruin somebody's day when they're trying to combo off. Then we got my babe here, Holga, one of the newer editions. Again, another vestige of the chaos where I just can't cut it because I love the randomness of it. I have to attack, or it must be blocked. I have to attack. I love it. Talk about this in one of my other decks, Brash Taunter. Just a lot of fun. People don't realize how strong that ability can be, especially in Commander when things get real big. That he's not only indestructible, but he can also just blast somebody in the face with that damage. I love this card. Again, with the random chaos theme, File Smasher here. I don't know if it needs an introduction, but you can read it there. I just like that random ability there. It's really good. Then we get on to some of the combo pieces, as it were. We got Mayhem Devil. Player seconds permanent. Deals 1 damage to any target. When the card leaves the battlefield or leaves the graveyard, get a tap to zombie. Thought I had these in a better order, but I'll explain it better when I get through all these. This is also like Diao-chun, where you just do random damage. Again, part of the random chaos kind of stuff. Enters the battlefield, destroy a permanent, non-permanent, sorry. Until your next turn, creatures your opponents control attack each combat. This is really fun just to kind of throw out there and kind of go deal with it. Attack each other, not me. And then when things die, when attacking creature dies, each opponent loses a life, gain a life. One of my favorite chaos cards. Got the new printing here, as you can see. There's battlefield. I can give it to an opponent. Has a last ability there. It's more important than the middle one. Has to attack each combat, whatever. But I pay 3 life to have that player lose life, and then I can draw a card. Anybody can pay this ability, so sometimes late game, if I have access to a ton of mana, I pop her out, pay a bunch of mana, and make them lose a bunch of life. I've won a few games with this. A lot of fun. This is just a really good card that I can never seem to cut. He's just a real big, beefy boy. And I just love him. Got a new printing recently, and still like this old, like, Geiger art. Just tickles me. Then we go back to some more of the combo pieces I was discussing. Entering the battlefield, deals damage to target opponent. 2 damage to one of the creatures. Man, I really mixed this up a little bit, huh? But we got Karn. Not the good Karn, but an okay Karn. Again, a vestige of randomness. I just like this. There's so many abilities on here that I just like. Has to attack, lose control of him, draw 2 cards. Damage would be dealt to him, prevent the damage, and then somebody else gets control of it. I love that. It's a really fun card. Sells conscripts. Again, enters battlefield, gain control of target permanent. Part of a big beefy combo that I love, that I'll talk about in a second. Great Merchant of Asphodel. Don't really explain this too much, but he's really good whenever I have enough black mana out that I can just pop him a couple times in and out of the battlefield and win the game. Raving Den, again, another one of those random cards I just love. I'll let you guys read that. This is the dumb, goofy deck that I love to play. And now it's got a little bit meaner. Some of this stuff, a lot of stuff's coming out of my graveyard. I think I kind of glossed over that. We'll kind of come back to that real quick. Where did I put you? I should put these in a better order. That was my mistake. Or a lot of stuff's leaving my graveyard, either being put onto the bottom of my library with this guy, or the battlefield, and just on the battlefield with this other guy. Sorry, a little bug buzzer on me I had to kill. But makes guys, does damage, both really useful. This is also a big combo piece for this deck that I'll explain. Look, I put this off to the side too. Explain better when it comes up to this. Deals damage. Let's skip ahead to Birders Rare Caps. I thought we looked at this already. Pinging damage with this as well. Also, just love that art. So, let me grab one more card before I get too far into the next section, just to kind of... There we are. Before we get too far ahead, because the next section is enchantments. Again, here we have another Scry ability, Shadows of the Past. Kind of hard to read because artist signed over the words, but you can always look that up. The big thing is that Scry ability. That's the most important part. We go back to some more chaos effects where players can't gain life, damage can't be prevented, opponents can't search libraries, they would play an extra turn, they skip it, players can't gain life, beginning of each upkeep, they lose half their life, rounded up. A lot of fun with this Havoc Festival, man. I love that card. When an opponent would gain life, the player loses my life instead. If a spell or ability would cause the controller to gain life, that player loses that much life instead. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, that also includes lifelink, but not... There's a weird rules wording for this card where I think lifelink may or may not be included in that. Got some like crumbs in there. We'll get back to that. Braid of Fire. A broken card since they got rid of Mana Burn. And that's also one of the things where I can play with Xantcha. Or just have a crap ton of mana, can just dump into that. But mostly it's for my commander, where I can just do that a couple times if I wish. Hopefully get some good stuff. Another card I've been trying to cut, but I cannot cut. Let you guys get a read for that. It's just fun where you can cast stuff, instead of actually getting to cast it, a random card's picked instead, based on what type of card that was. I love this card. It just makes the game more fun in my eyes. People hate it. Give a crap. On to the artifacts. Again, sack outlet, but these also do some good work with creating mana. There's a few combos where... Skip ahead. Yeah. Heartstone, where reduces the activation cost of everything by 1. Sometimes I can make copies of that, and some Shenanigans before where I've made a copy of this, which makes it free. But usually all I need is this, and I can just recur the same creature over and over again and do a bunch of work. Like I said, pinging. This guy does pretty good work with that too. You can remove all the mana from him, make the mana, bring him back with the mana. A lot of fun stuff to be done there, right? Cauldron of Eternity. When a creature you control dies, put it in the bottom of your opponent's library. Again, does a lot of work with this deck. If you're running Grenzo and you don't have this card, you're a fool. This is so useful. Yeah, make it cost less. That's great. Turn creature from your graveyard to the battlefield. Also fun. But for God's sakes, man, this card. I'm going to level with you. I forget what this one's called. But it has tap 1, scry 2. Don't really need to explain too much with that. So we'll just make fun of me in the comments with that one. Soldevi Digger. Pay 2. Put the top card of graveyard. Bottom of your library. Preemptive scry ability here. Darksteel Pendant. Before it was called scry. Riku. Put on the bottom of your library from the graveyard. This was the original genesis of this deck. I played a draft with Conspiracy. I did so well with so much fun that I had to build this deck, and this is one of the original cards. The only reason I don't have a foil for either of these, well, this is also signed by the artist, but this is the original card that won me that tournament that I will never get rid of, probably. Another put on the bottom of the library card. This is another card. If you're playing Grenzo, you should run this. Just every upkeep you get 2 colorless mana. Can't play spells with it, so you just pump one in him, get a freebie. This is probably another one of those great cards where just once creature leaves my graveyard, either bottom of the library or back to the battlefield, I get a bat. That's another one of the combo pieces where this is out. I can use that for mana to keep pumping other stuff into the abilities. So many weird combos that sometimes I forget which does what. And I'm like, oh, I have a infinite combo on board. Everyone dies. And last but not least, one of my favorite artifacts. Still hanging over from the Chaos deck. No one can draw cards. And then you just cast a random card from the top of your library. I love this with Possibility Storm, where you don't get to play anything. It's just so much fun. This triggers first. You reveal, you cast it, you exile it, you pick the next one. A lot of fun. People hate it. But just to kind of go back, this is another combo I love, where you can use Kiki Jiki, make a copy of Zealous Conscripts, gain control Kiki Jiki, untap it, a bunch of times. They all have haste anyway. That's a lot of fun to do every once in a while, too. There's a lot of fun, dumb things to do with this deck. And sometimes when I'm done, if I don't win, I can't win with that, sack them out and do a bunch of other shenanigans with it. Now, on to the mana base. And probably one of the biggest contenders for the Bellyaching is get this really neat, like, Dungeons and Dragons style proxy for my Battlelands, because I don't have one anymore. I want to get another one. But a lot of times, by the time I start winning, people start bitching, well, you play with a proxy, that's not fair. It's like, shut up. Even if I just had a mountain in here, shush. It's also why I also play with these on the side and actually have the token cards, and it's just one less thing for people to complain about when I actually start winning. It's one of my biggest pet peeves. I don't always win, but when I start doing the crazy stuff, people complain about it a lot. Of course, I don't play with those kind of people as much, but it is what it is. We got Haunted Ridge, Smoldering Marsh, Command Tower Signed, Sulphurous Mire, Shadowblood Ridge, Luxury Suite, Sulphurous Spring, love that art, Tainted Peak, Geothermal Bog, Dragon Skull Summit in French, Blackcleave Cliffs, I want to say Chinese, Blood Crypt, Rakdos Carnarium, Temple of Malice, little Scry ability, Crystal Grotto, also Scry ability. Kind of segue into my utility lands. 2 different Scry abilities, just 1 extra bonus if I need it. We got my Ancient Tomb here for Exine Tower for a Salk outlet, and Bloodstained Mire. Again, mana fixing more than actually searching out combo pieces. I rather just have it more randomized. Does that make sense? There's enough Scry in this deck. I don't really care what's on top of the library. I care about what's on the bottom. And for the basics, I put Mad Blonde Mountain just on top of the mountains to kind of show this is a really fun card where it counts as a mountain. You just pay red, shuffle your ability. If you have 2 more red permanents, but that shuffle library ability comes in a lot of pickles. I can scry and not like either of them, shuffle my deck, and then kind of try again. I recommend that to a lot of people. It's one of those cards that slips under most people's radars. And my favorite too, I like playing with different arts, printings. These are pretty much all foreign at this point because I just kept coming across them. I think you might have seen this in some of my other deck techs where I don't like playing the same art. I like playing different, weird, pretty arts. I thought I had more swamps than that. Mana curve might be off a bit on this too, where I might have to tweak that a bit, but I like playing different arts, mix and matching. Just looking at the artists too. A bunch of different artists. I like good. The last 2 are both Adam Pequet, but can't fault me that. Those are really pretty arts. But that is my Grenzo deck. I don't know if you guys, anybody have their own version of that. I really enjoy playing it. It's a lot of fun to just randomize stuff. I'm a big proponent of not playing tutor effects. I'd rather just have a good time and just kind of see where the cards take me. Leave it to the heart of the cards, right? You guys play Rakdos? What's your favorite Rakdos commander? Put that in the comments. Get me a little interaction going, huh, baby? More than that, hope you get some ideas from that. Maybe inspired you to make your own little Grenzo deck. I like to do a more creature heavy. Gives me more chances because there's enough utility effects on creatures, so you don't really do too much. And I don't know if I mentioned either. All my creatures, I think, have a maximum power of 5, so that way I can pretty much bring Grenzo at turn 5. Gets 3+1/+1s. Makes them power 5/5. So most everything in my deck is targetable. Sometimes I even just do it on turn 6 just to kind of get that extra 1. But because it is, just put it away. Am I an idiot? Less than or equal to, yeah. So 5's good, but I used to have a 6 in there. I might still have it. Sometimes I forget what's in my deck. But I don't know. It's fun. I can go off weird combos once in a while, and sometimes people don't like that. I don't play it too often, but it's one of my favorites, so hope you guys like that. And until next time, love you.